Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. It's AFR Saints, your home for daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Please subscribe, smash the like button, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And our content this football season is presented by BetUS. Score a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Enjoy the video. Who dat? The Saints are going into this offseason, as we well know, a team that is looking for a head coach, a team that is aging with its star players, a team that is, at this point, some $50 million over the salary cap, a team that is just not in a very healthy position. As a matter of fact, I know Ross Jackson had this up at LouisianaSports.net today. The five highest cap hits for the Saints next year are all players 32 and older. Derek Carr's $51.4 million. Cam Jordan, $20.1 million. Taysom Hill, $17.9. Demario Davis, $12.5. And Tyrann Mathieu, $11.3. I mean, that is $113.3 million against the cap for players over the age of 32. And it would have been a sixth player, but for Ryan Ramczyk retiring. Well, granted, Ramchik's not over 32, but obviously he's now retiring, and you'll spread his money out off into the future. But bottom line is the Saints have to get younger, and the surest fire way to get younger and to get better is the draft. I mean, the draft is set up as a tool to create parity in the NFL, really in all sports. It's what the draft is there for. The worst teams pick first so they get the best players. I mean, it's like at recess. Everybody stand on the wall. All right, who gets first pick? You're going to pick the best player. That's how it goes. Look at the Washington Commanders. Haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. Laughable franchise. They draft Jaden Daniels. Boom, they're in the playoffs. Not only are they in the playoffs, they get a win. You don't need me to explain that to you, but I feel like sometimes the Saints may need explaining. But it was interesting because as we've talked about this Saints roster going into the draft, and we've looked at some of the mock drafts that people are floating out there, my contention is that it does not matter to me terribly what position the New Orleans Saints target with the 9th overall pick. Because they need everything. You need a quarterback. You certainly need a left guard. You need help at tight end. You need receivers, as evidenced this year. While Olave and Shaheed at times have done good things in their career, you do not have a true number one receiver. Running back, you absolutely need help. Kamara's old. Kendre Miller can't stay healthy. You were one of the worst interior defensive lines in the NFL this year against the run. You were bottom half of the NFL in sacks. You traded away your best cornerback. Your safeties are old. Like, linebacker, you're pretty good, but Demario Davis is 36 years old, man. How much longer is he going to play? Like, you need everything. Like, you need everything. There's not a single spot on the field where you can look at it and go, good there. There's nowhere. Literally nowhere on the field. So, whatever they elect to do at 9, I'm good with it because whatever position that is, you need it. So, it was curious to me when I saw this because Pro Football Focus put up a piece where they rated the biggest needs using their metrics, the biggest needs for every NFL team. And so for the New Orleans Saints, they ranked 4 needs, 2 on offense and 2 on defense. So let's run through this real quickly if we could. We'll get right back to the video, but always my pleasure to tell you about our partner here this football season at AFR Saints, BetUS. Right now, they still got that awesome 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Let's look at the divisional round. Go lock in our bet. You go to BetUS, you hit that football tab on the left. Let's find the divisional playoffs. There they are right there. I'll tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders going up to Detroit. Now, I know Detroit's been a juggernaut, but boy, Jaden Daniels seems like he's playing by a different set of rules. And if you're going to give me 9.5 points with JD5, I'm going to gobble all 9.5 up. Again, chalk early, dogs late. Maybe wait a little closer to kickoff. Might get an even better number. We'll go ahead and place our bet. It'll ask us to confirm, tap, and just like that, we're locked in. Commanders plus 9.5 at Detroit. Go ahead and place your bet at BetUS. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Now, enjoy the rest of the video. First up, I would say quarterback. You want to guess? Muse? Paulie, biggest need for the Saints. Right
wide receiver.
Okay, Paulie.
I'll go defensive line.
Both are listed, but they did list wide receiver first. Give yourself a ding, Muse.
All right.
Like an angel's bell from on high, Muse.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wing.
No, that angel ain't Muse. Know that much. Learned that yesterday.
Back to the draft.
Chris Olave is yet to play a full season. 3 years in the NFL, he's yet to play a full season. His first 2 years, he was a 1,000-yard receiver, which was fantastic, but I still don't know that you would look at Chris Olave and say he's a true, legit number one in the way that Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, look around the league. You don't have a true number one receiver. Shaheed, for his career, 16.6 yards per reception. That average would have been good for 8th in the NFL, so he's a deep threat, which is very good. But again, you don't have a true number one receiver. And when both those guys were out this year, you were decimated there. You need help at receiver. Tight end was the other offensive position that they listed. And it's interesting because you have Foster Moreau and you have Juwan Johnson. Well, Foster Moreau signed a 3-year, $12 million deal with the Saints before last season. So Foster Moreau is entering the final year of his deal. Meanwhile, Juwan Johnson is going into free agency. Johnson was brought here as an undrafted free agent who started his career at Penn State, finished at Oregon. He was a receiver. They converted him to tight end, thinking he could be that pass-catching tight end, but the reality is it just hasn't worked out. Now, this year, in large part because of all the injuries at receiver, Johnson was the Saints' leading pass catcher, 50 catches for 548 yards, which isn't much to write home about, but he's also heading into free agency this year, so there's no telling he'll be back. Truthfully, ever since the Saints traded away Jimmy Graham, they have been trying for a decade now to find that guy, that impact pass-catching tight end. And they've gone all over, from Kobe Fleener and Adam Troutman to Jared Cook to guys like Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson, and they just haven't been able to lock down that spot. Drafting near the top of the draft, you could very well go get that freak show from Penn State, Tyler Warren, who might very well be on the board when you pick 9th. And I think you do far worse, especially considering the way Brock Bowers played this year as a rookie. On the defensive line, Paulie mentioned defensive tackle, and that is the first defensive position that they mentioned. It's so interesting because the core of the New Orleans Saints defense under Dennis Allen, as they went from the worst defense in the NFL under Rob Ryan in 2015 and 2016, up into a top 5 defense under Dennis Allen before Sean Payton left and Allen became the head coach, was the fact that the Saints were so good against the run. And because they were so good against the run, that benefited the team on the back end where you did have some talent. This year, you were 31st in the NFL in rushing yards allowed. You were 31st in the NFL in yards per carry at 4.9. Let me say that again. The New Orleans Saints allowed an average of 4.9 yards per carry. Every time someone turned around and handed the ball off, they ran it for 5 yards against the Saints. That sucks. It was the only team in the NFL that was worse was the Carolina Panthers. You are awful against the run. You got to get better. If you can get an impact run stuffer early in this draft, you absolutely do it. And not surprisingly, but defensive end was the other spot. Cam Jordan's old. His productivity is going down. You paid Carl Granderson. He really struggled to finish sacks this year. Chase Young was a pretty impactful guy at creating pressure, but it was a one-year deal. He's heading into free agency, and there's no guarantee that he's back. You were 20th in the NFL with 39 sacks this season. 20th out of 32 teams with just 39 sacks in 17 games. It would be criminal if the New Orleans Saints do not add a pass rusher in the draft, free agency, or both this offseason. There it is by Pro Football Focus. 4 things biggest needs for the New Orleans Saints. Wide receiver, tight end, interior defensive line, and defensive end. But as we've said, they kind of need everything. And I'll continue to say, for me, if I had my druthers, if I had to close my eyes and throw a dart at the board, I would kind of hope that it would land on Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. Not only is he a guy that can create an interior pass rush, very good against the run. You put him and Brzee on the interior. I think you got a 1-2 punch of first-round picks there at your interior defensive line. That could be a good tandem moving forward for future years. And we'll see if LSU can continue to, if the New Orleans Saints can continue to build at the line of scrimmage the way they have for some time. So I was looking at a text about LSU. Inching closer to the draft. We'll keep you posted, and we'll certainly have plenty to say. Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified when we post a new video, and remember to support BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150.